everyone, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to talk about some major news that came out earlier today. The two creators, I cannot say their name for the life of me, so I'm not even going to try, of Avatar The Last Airbender, the original animated series Avatar The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. I don't know if it's called Avatar The Legend of Korra. I think it's just called The Legend of Korra. But the guys who created that were working on a live action version of the show on Netflix. Now, if some of you have got Netflix, which everyone's got Netflix, so what am I kidding? But if you have Netflix, you might have noticed that a lot of the Avatar has recently popped up on there. And this week too, Legend of Korra is supposed to pop up there as well. It's because Netflix has a deal with Paramount, which, if you don't know, Paramount is Nickelodeon. Paramount's the owner of Nickelodeon. That's why every Nickelodeon thing movie you've ever seen has the Paramount logo at the beginning, has that Paramount logo at the beginning, and they have a deal with Paramount. So they were working on a Last Airbender television series that was supposed to be a live action television series. I'm guessing it was gonna get the same kind of budget as like The Witcher. So think maybe Witcher, but for that, but like, just think that's the kind of goal they were going for, is like the success they've had with The Witcher, but with The Last Airbender. Now Netflix has been buying up everything like it's crazy. They've bought Millar World, which is a lot of properties. They bought a lot of Dark Horse stuff. They've bought a lot of book properties. They have a lot of big deals. The directors of Game of Thrones came and signed like a $200 million deal with them. Like, they are signing a lot of people. They've signed up everything. Like, honestly, it's every freaking day you look up there. They got a One Piece movie in development. Every time you look at Netflix, I think they have a Splinter Cell animated show in development. Like, every time you look up, Netflix is buying something and working on something. Ironically, a lot of that shit they don't actually own. They're just working on, because even this Avatar show was being co-funded and like co-owned by Paramount. So even that was going to be like a Netflix original that's not really a because I don't think, I kind of try to tell people this because I don't think some people quite understand this, that technically the Marvel Netflix shows are were actually made by ABC and produced by Netflix and like released by Netflix, but it was created and made by ABC. But they get the slap on Netflix original, and everyone kind of like because the thing is, when people see the Netflix original logo, they just assume that, oh well, this is a Netflix thing. No, I'd probably say a grand total of 70% of everything on Netflix, including some of the big shows that you wouldn't expect, are not actually true Netflix originals. They are produced, they are made, written, and casted and everything by a different company, maybe someone like Warner Brothers, maybe even a company that like a Time Warner or Disney, and released on Netflix, and they get to slap their Netflix original logo on it. It's the same way they've been able to slap their Netflix original logo on Lucifer, even though all of us know Lucifer was on Fox before it ever went to Netflix, but they get to slap their Netflix original logo on it, and people who might not know, people who might not be familiar with it will go and say, oh, this is a Netflix original show? Wow, can't believe they came up with this. Like, that's just how Netflix rolls. So that's the situation we're looking in with the creators. Now I say all that just to kind of, let you kind of give you a history on how Netflix operates. But Netflix was about to produce this live-action Avatar series with the original creators on as producers. They weren't going to be the writers and everything, but they were going to be like producers. They were going to be in the room, being able to tell people how their thoughts on how they created it, and make it much better than the M. Night Shyamalan monster that came out almost a decade ago. Was it a decade ago? I don't know if that M. Night Shyamalan movie was a decade ago. It was a while ago. But that disaster, I'm going to go with a decade, because it was a disaster, and it affected Avatar, it affected the way people looked at that franchise and that property. It was the hammer, it was pretty much, the nail in the coffin. Though M. Night has kind of resurged, it was at the time the nail in his coffin. No one thought he could ever recover from that. That's how bad that movie was, and coincidentally on that movie, none of the writers from the original series were in the room, were even involved really, and that's how it turned out. So when I heard that they were making this series, I was like, okay, I have I got PTSD from that other movie, but you give it a shot, you see how it goes, you're kind of just like, well, they got the original creators on it, so it might turn out well. They had some of the CD Projekt Red guys working with them when they were making The Witcher. They had the actual head writer who, even though he was a little sketchy about it, they talked to him, so it was kind of like, okay, they had some of the people who worked on the games involved, and the people who worked and the guy who worked on the book involved in some type of way. But this show. But the two guys involved, the two people who helped co-created Avatar: The Last Airbender and wrote it and did pretty much all the work, all the heavy lifting to make that show what it was, I've left the project due to creative differences. And it's not even like actually like usually they just say that. They had a lengthy. You can look it up. It's on Hollywood Reporter and Deadline. You can look it up. They had a lengthy letter to the fans because that's what they wrote it to. They were like to the fans, like, we're not gonna be able to work on this. And it was a lengthy and it was direct. It pretty much said that Netflix was fucking with us. I mean, they didn't come out and say that. They were professional about it, but they might as well have. That is pretty much what they said. That Netflix lied to us. Netflix told us that we would get to, influence and make sure that this turns out like the vision that we imagined it to be, and that other people can be in, and that, we can make this better than this is not what they said, but that basically what they said is like they told us we get to have our vision and get to, go about this the way that we want to go about this. And then they came in the room and did some very unprofessional things. And we can't work on this project. And basically, in a sense, they said we'll have a peace of mind of knowing that we weren't involved in this project and we did the best we could. And I'm like, yo, this does not sound good for this Avatar show. I'm thinking, holy shit, this Avatar show is about to be like goddamn the Death Note movie. This shit is about to be like all those goddamn anime movies they keep greenlighting on Netflix that suck. I'm like, oh my god, this is about to be shit. This is really about to be shit. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, what could it have been that pissed the creators off so much that not only did they leave, but they were talking shit on the way out? The thing is, creative differences happen all the time in Hollywood. It happens all the time. You don't even know how often it happens. There are many movies that you have seen that should have been different and should have had a different creative on it, but he decided to leave because he didn't like the direction it was going in. Most of the time, they just say, we had creative differences, and nothing's said about it. They just leave, and then, years later, maybe months after the movie comes out, there's a bunch of speculation, there's a bunch of people talking, there's, maybe this happened, but nobody really knows, and the actors and, whatnot, they're professional, you don't hear from them. It's nothing, but they specifically, basically said that Netflix was fucking with us, they wouldn't let us do what we wanted to do, they told us that we would be able to do this, and then they renege, not only did they renege on it, but the direction they wanted to go in is something that we aren't even comfortable attaching ourselves to. That's what they're saying. That's basically what they're saying about this Netflix show that's going to be coming out, this Avatar The Last Airbender Netflix show. And apparently, they left in June. We're just hearing about it now. They just let us know about it now. They left a little bit ago. So it's like, yo, what the fuck? But I had no faith in this damn thing to begin with because of the last attempt. But now I for sure have no faith. I'm like, I'm good. Because I'm not going through this again. And this is just another in a line of sketchy things that Netflix have done. I'm thinking about making a video about Netflix, really, because there is this very interesting misconception that Netflix are saviors, or like, because there is this weird misconception, like when people kind of put Netflix, when people kind of get out and look at the micro, there's this conception that Netflix are saviors because they've been around so long and they've been able to give people so many movies for what people kind of picture as having it free, because just paying for Netflix is just a part of normal life. And there is this bit of, it's not Stockholm Syndrome, but there is this bit of weird Stockholm thing going on with Netflix where people feel like, oh, well, they're giving me free stuff, they're the saviors, they save Lucifer, they have this real shows, it's Netflix, But in reality, Netflix is dirty and shady as fuck. First of all, Netflix counts a viewership of a show as you watching 30 seconds of the show. They count that as a viewership. That means if you saw something and you were like, that kind of looks interesting. You looked at it 30 seconds in, maybe a minute in, maybe you watched the episode and you're like, I'm done with this. They count that as an entire viewership. And then they're sketchy as shit about their numbers. I've never seen someone so sketchy. They are so sketchy, and they're shrewd in the way they manipulate the numbers. And for instance, somehow, according to Netflix, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and the MCU Marvel shows were never really that popular. And actually, they dropped off a cliff. According to Netflix, we canceled the shows because Netflix tried to kind of hint that they canceled shows because no one was watching them. Then the fucking Witcher comes out, and they're talking about how it's the most popular thing that ever came out. It's more popular than The Mandalorian. And then literally a week ago, on multiple official sites, literally everyone said that the most popular show, most in-demand show of 2020 was The Mandalorian. Well, not 2020. No, of 2019. I guess it'd be 2019 was The Mandalorian by far. So that just makes you go, where's Netflix getting these numbers from? They skew numbers when they want to. They squash numbers when they want to. When they want to get rid of someone. And the thing is, that's all good. Fuck with your numbers. Fuck with your viewerships to boost your numbers. To artificially boost your numbers. To artificially make it look like something's better than what it is. But they have a habit, and multiple times, of firing people without telling anyone about it. Netflix cancels shows while they're in the writing room. The guy who made Luke Cage, the writer behind Luke Cage, the head guy behind Luke Cage, was talking about how they didn't know they were, canceled until they were already in the room working on the next season. Same thing with Daredevil. They were already in the room working on the next seasons. They didn't get told they were canceled, and then they're just told they're canceled. And Netflix does shit like that all the time. They've done shit. The Netflix is extremely shady. They're extremely, there's just a lot of shady things about Netflix. So it's not a shock to me that the guys from Avatar were like, this is some shady shit. We don't like the way things are going here. We don't like the way Netflix is going about it. We're getting out of here. Because, and as a lot of other people have pointed out, they could have said a lot of things. They could have said, the creatives. They could have said a specific name. They could have said, but they specifically pointed at Netflix multiple times. And they specifically called them liars. They came out and called Netflix liars. They called Netflix unprofessional. So it should just kind of tell you the environment over there. I believe that Netflix has a lot more skeletons in their closet. It's just a case of Netflix is giving so many people chances that might not be able to get a chance, that a lot of people are just willing to deal with it. It's old school mentality. It's old school mentality in a new package. It's that old school mentality in a new package. It's like nobody's going to really say anything because you're giving us chances and stuff. But, there's some shit going on over here. But thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Are you disappointed that the co-creators of Avatar The Last Airbender have left a live-action Netflix show? Are you worried? Or you should be, because it's not gonna look good. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.